none of this stuff that you see on here, you you have to have. But when you're new to starting your own seeds, these things will help you big time. Uh, I struggled for years. I didn't really have someone teaching me these things. I had to learn on my own. I had to, read books. Uh, I did a lot of reading, plenty of reading. So I suggest anybody that's wanting to start a garden for the first time, to really do some reading on books. There's a lot of great books out there that can help you with this. Is there anybody here that is not familiar with this stuff on here? Can you tell me what it is that the fluorescent light? Okay, that's a fluorescent light that again you don't have to have, but you can purchase these from a garden center like Home Depot or Lowe's. Uh, I believe that was like $65, which to me is worth the money. You can use it, several years. The light fixture will help you, it's to provide lights for your seedlings. And I'll get to that point. Anybody else, there's something on here that, you have a question? Okay, the bottle, I'll get to that too. It's just an empty dishwashing bottle. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now what I use that for. When you start seeds indoors, I find that, it's really hard not to make a mess once you water. Okay, but so I like to use that for watering, and that's once your seeds sprout. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I just wanted to post that on there so that you guys see that this will help you big time. You don't have to have any of this stuff. I don't know if you can see, but there's a clear dome on there, and there's a tray. It's a standard tray with no holes that you have to have, otherwise your water leaks on your floor or whatever you put your seedlings. And then on the bottom of the dishwashing soap bottle is a 36-inch cell tray, which is standard. It fits on that. Yes, sir. Are you going to talk about the different types of lighting, fluorescent versus LED versus grow bulbs and things like that? No, I'm not going to get into that because this is the cheapest that you can get, and that's what's going to help you to, get your seedlings healthy so you can get them out. There's other stuff you can buy, but other stuff it costs more money, and so that's what I use. I don't use anything else. First thing I wanted to share with you guys is the seed starter mix recipe that I use for my seeds. I'm just gonna tell you if some of you want to write it down. This is what I use. I try several different recipes, and this is the one that works for me. So this is the only thing that I'm gonna take credit for. Everything else I have learned, like I said, by reading books. And making my own mistakes. So you guys ready? 3 parts peat moss, and I'm using really simple things that you can purchase anywhere. This is not by weight; it's by measure. Like you can use a 1-gallon container, so you put 3 gallons of this peat moss, 1 part perlite, 1 part vermiculite. So that's all there is to this seed starter mix. There's nothing else in it. Now you have to remember this is a seed starter mix. It's not a potting mix. What you see here on that cell that's got the, I don't know if you can see the seeds. For some of you guys it might be too far, but the one on your left, it's got the seeds laying on top of the mix. What you want to do is you want to put these 3 ingredients in a container, depending on the amount that you are going to be using. If you're going to use a large amount, you want to mix them in a Weber or something that size. But I don't think you're going to be using that much. So what I would suggest that you use is a 5-gallon container. You put, you know, three parts pit moss, 1 part perlite, 1 part vermiculite, mix them well together, and then you want to add water to this mix in a way that's completely wet. It's not water running out of it, but it's wet. And then this is what I use anytime I'm growing peppers. I use these cells. I like to use the 72-inch or 72 cell trays, but I was out of them, so I'm using the 36-inch. I only use it for peppers because, you know, I can add on each cell, you know, 3 to 4 seeds. And if all of them happen to germinate, what I do is I go back and cut the ones that don't look so good. You know, there's always going to be one that looks the best, and that's what you want to go with. You fill up your trays with this mix, which you already gotten nice and moist, and you put the seed right on top of this mix. Instead of you covering the seed with this mix, what you use is you use the vermiculite, and there's a reason for this. Those of you that have grown your own seedlings know that there is this fungus disease that attacks seedlings. To me, that was the thing that I struggled the most anytime I was starting seeds. If you use vermiculite, you'll have a better chance of not getting this disease. That doesn't mean that you will not get it at all. I mean, you know, if the seed is all, you know, damp, you know, will attack these seeds better than, you know, fresh seed. So what you do is, once you got your seed on your tray, you cover with about 1/4 of an inch of this vermiculite. And once you've done this, remember your mix, the rest of the mix is already wet. So you're gonna take the bottle of dishwashing soap, or if you're working outside, you can use a regular watering can, and you wanna, you know, apply water to the top of the tray. You don't have to do a lot because your mix is already wet, and that's all there is to it. Now you wanna, you know, cross label your trays. You know, if I would not do peppers and tomatoes at the same time. The reason for this is because within 3 to 4 days or a week, you have tomatoes coming out of the mix. Now, peppers take a little longer. And the reason why I say don't start them at the same time is, you know, peppers take longer. So you want to get those going, you know, 8 weeks before your last, or your first frost, rather. Yeah, your last frost. And your tomatoes take about 5 to 6 weeks. So that's the reason for you not to start tomatoes and peppers on the same tray. If you do, you will, let's say you did a half of tomatoes and half of peppers, you will have to remove the dome. I don't know if y'all can see it, but that clear dome goes on the tray once you got your seeds on there and you cover them with that vermiculite. If you keep that clear dome over your tray, you should not have to water again. If you do, what's going to happen is you're actually cooling down the soil, which is going to affect your germination rate. So, you know, that's why that clear dome is, like I said, it's something that will help you greatly. Now you can use, you know, plastic wrap if you have. You can use any container that you have. I'm just, you know, telling you the way I do it. To me, that's, you know, the best way I found. I showed you earlier this other picture right here. Now, that's what I do for tomatoes. If I'm doing a large quantity, so you can see I try to reuse stuff that I already have. But anytime you do this, you want to make sure you wash everything with soapy water really well. Otherwise, you're gonna run into problems with damping off. These seedlings, these are all tomatoes, and they're about, I'll say they're about the size or the time where they need to be, potted up. I'll show you right here. If I'm not doing this many tomatoes, I'm not using all of them. I'm gonna go through here and select the best ones, which, by the way, you should always do that. If you're wanting 5 plants, you wanna sow, 20 or 25 seeds and select the 5 best looking seedlings. And you always wanna stick to that. You can pot them up all if you want. And then, when they're big enough to plant in the ground, you're always gonna go and select the best looking ones. You wanna start always with the best. These are 4-inch pots. And I was just doing this for you guys to see, if you notice those containers are not really clean. That's not the way I do it. I clean mine, first. But this was to show you. You can see there's probably 20 or so seeds of tomatoes in there. And, I can do 18 varieties. You can fit 18 4-inch little containers and a tray that has no holes. So I don't know if anybody here, wants to grow that many varieties, which, I don't see it as a bad thing. You always want to go grow more than one variety of everything in case, something doesn't do well, something else might. So, and then again, it's basically the same thing. I use the same mix. The mix is already wet. I put my seed on there. On top of that goes the vermiculite. And by the way, I meant to tell you this. You're going to have a hard time telling when your mix or your mix is dry. But like I say, if you water your seed after you put the vermiculite on there, you should not have to water again. That is if you keep your clear dome on there at all times, and you don't need the light. Once you have 2 or 3 seeds come up out of the growing medium, you want to go ahead and put that seedling right under the light fixture that I show you, and you want the light fixture to almost touch your seedlings. If you wait until all of them sprout to remove that clear dome, these fungus disease can still attack your seedlings. So as soon as 2 to 3 of them start to come up, you want to go ahead and remove that clear dome to create some airflow through there, because this, it's what I believe, gets your seedlings. They sometimes even before the seeds germinate. So you want to put the seedlings or the light fixture itself about 1 inch or so away from the top of the seedling. You want to keep an eye on them as they grow. You want to be able to raise this light fixture. This light fixture comes with these hooks and these chains. You're gonna have to find a way to make some sort of a stand so you can adjust the height of the light. And this is all there is to it. Once your plants are about the size that you see here, which is about 2 or 3 inches, they're gonna have that first set of true leaves on here. That's when you wanna take a pencil. I take a pencil and I'll pry them up out of the tray, and then I can pot them up.